The all-new 2027 Toyota Highlander has just been revealed, and to say the reception is mixed would be an understatement. In fact, some loyalists are already calling this the single worst downgrade in Toyota history. We're going to remain objective, of course, but after digging into the specs and seeing the early backlash, we found 5 massive reasons why you might want to run, not walk, away from this one. First things first, Toyota has officially forced full electrification on the Highlander. That's right, the Highlander is now a battery electric vehicle only. No gas engine, no hybrid option, no I'll take the reliable 2.5-liter with 35 miles per gallon please, just electrons. For a brand that practically built its reputation on hybrid dominance, this feels like a defiant move. But Toyota clearly has new targets. The new Highlander is gunning directly for the Hyundai Ioniq 9 and the Kia EV9. Toyota says this represents modern power and a step forward. Sure, that sounds nice in a press release, but in the real world, Toyota buyers aren't exactly begging for an EV Highlander. They want a reliable hybrid with 600 miles of range and 5-minute fill-ups. Instead, if you want that traditional hybrid drivetrain, you now have to step up to the Grand Highlander. That's a bold strategy, Toyota. Stepping inside, the practicality conversation starts quickly. There's no Frunk, which is surprising for a fully electric 3-row SUV on a dedicated platform. Buyers usually expect bonus storage up front, but pop the hood and you'll see the magic electrical box staring back at you instead. So no groceries up front, you're limited to the traditional rear cargo area, just like the gas-powered days. Speaking of the rear cargo space, this new Highlander has 45 cubic feet of rear storage with the third-row seat folded flat, slightly less than the previous generation, despite the longer wheelbase. When a vehicle grows and goes electric, people expect more space, not less. And yet, beyond that, it is surprisingly hard to find any other flaws with the new interior. Fans actually seem to love it so far. Toyota clearly invested in refinement. The redesigned cabin features upgraded materials, better sound insulation, and a more premium feel overall. A 14-inch central touchscreen anchors the clean horizontal dashboard, running Toyota's latest infotainment system with wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, over-the-air updates, and improved voice controls. Thankfully, not everything is buried in menus. Physical climate controls remain, and yes, there's still a volume knob. Critical functions are easy to access without tapping through endless screens, a refreshing move. Comfort is another strong point. The longer wheelbase improves legroom across all 3 rows, and the second row slides and tilts easily with the touch of a button for third-row access. Families also get a ridiculous 18 cup holders, because apparently everyone needs 3 drinks at all times, along with smart storage cubbies and a wide, practical center console that feels designed for real-world use. Upper trims introduce a panoramic glass roof, ambient lighting, and an available 11-speaker JBL audio system, perfect for those who want to drown out the bickering kids in the third row. Toyota also emphasizes improved cabin insulation, aiming for a noticeably quieter ride overall. For a 3-row family EV, that level of comfort and refinement is exactly what buyers are hoping for. So while the lack of a frunk and slightly reduced cargo space might raise eyebrows, the overall interior execution feels thoughtful and well done. In fact, if Toyota had simply paired this cabin with the hybrid powertrain everyone expected, the reaction might be overwhelmingly positive. Then there's the exterior. The new Highlander adopts a blockier, more squared-off stance. It's wider, lower, and longer. Toyota calls it, quote, elevated and modern. Critics say the designers took a look at the rest of the Toyota lineup, hit Ctrl-C and then Ctrl-V right onto the clay model. It's derivative, it's uninspired, and frankly, it's a bit lazy. We also have to ask, why do designers feel the compulsive need to add a full-width LED light bar across the front and back of every single EV? It was cool for about 5 minutes in 2021. Now it's just played out. Wheel sizes range from 19 to 22 inches depending on the trim, and it has the fancy flush door handles. Yes, they help with aerodynamics by a fraction of a percent, but have you ever tried to open a flush door handle when it's covered in ice? Good luck with that. The two-tone paint job is another trend they've slapped on here to try and make it look premium, but it just ends up looking like it's trying too hard to be a Range Rover. The aesthetic is a confusing mix of rugged pretensions and aero-obsessed smoothness that doesn't quite land. But let's be fair, it's not ugly, necessarily, but it lacks the confident identity of the previous generations. It looks like a car designed by a committee that was terrified of offending anyone. And in doing so, they created something that inspires absolutely no emotion whatsoever. Now, let's talk about the numbers that keep EV buyers up at night. Range. Toyota says the 2027 Highlander will deliver 270 miles with the standard battery and up to 320 miles with the larger pack. Power output is rated at around 220 horsepower in base form and up to 338 horsepower in dual-motor all-wheel drive models. So yes, it'll be quicker than the old gas version. That's not the issue. The issue is distance. Gas Highlanders could easily travel 450 miles on a single tank without much effort, and the hybrid versions could stretch that out to over 600 miles before needing a refill. Then with a 5-minute fill-up, you're back on the highway. No itinerary planning required. With this EV setup, you're trading that convenience for charging stops that can stretch well beyond 30 minutes. And that 320-mile estimate, that's ideal conditions with a tailwind and going downhill. Add highway speeds, cold weather, kids, luggage, air conditioning, suddenly that buffer shrinks. Toyota had a chance to set a new benchmark, deliver at least 400 miles of range, make the switch to an EV feel like an upgrade. Instead, it feels like a compromise. Yes, charging networks are expanding. Yes, home charging works well for daily driving. And sure, Toyota is proudly touting vehicle-to-load technology so you can power your house during an outage. But let's be real, has anyone actually bought a family hauler just so they can turn it into a portable generator for their refrigerator? Families don't buy 3-row SUVs for science experiments. They buy them for road trips, travel soccer tournaments, and vacations to Disney. That's when range anxiety shows up. For many buyers, paying more for less real-world range is simply a tough sell. And that brings us to pricing. Toyota is positioning the 2027 Highlander to start just below $60,000, with all-wheel drive models and upper trims climbing past $70,000. Let that sink in. The Highlander used to be a mid-40s family staple. Now we're talking Lexus money. In fact, this overlaps with entry-level Lexus RX territory. Toyota was likely counting on incentives and federal tax credits during the development phase to soften the blow. But incentives aren't what they used to be, and the days of the government handing you money to make the math work on EVs are largely behind us. Without meaningful tax credits, you're staring at a roughly $65,000 mildly equipped 3-row Toyota. That's wild for a badge that used to scream value. This strategy feels totally out of step with real family budgets. And it's not hard to see why former Toyota CEO Koji Sato ultimately had to step down. When you zoom out, alienating loyal buyers, jacking up prices, and ditching the preferred powertrains, you get a company that looks strategically lost. That chaos shows up in the numbers too. Toyota recently reported a brutal 43% drop in profit. And if they keep building high-priced EVs that nobody specifically asked for, that slide could easily continue. Yes, the Highlander will be built in the US at Toyota's Kentucky plant and goes on sale later this year, but even the Made in America label might not be enough. This feels like a panic move, not a confident step forward. And right now, the odds on the gamble don't look great. Here's the thing, we aren't here to bash the new Highlander. On paper, it's advanced and modern, but Highlander buyers are pragmatic, prioritizing reliability, range, and value. This new model disrupts that formula completely. With no hybrid option, lower real-world range, and a steep price hike, Toyota has introduced controversy to a nameplate built on being the safe choice with great resale value. That doesn't make it a bad vehicle, but for a trusted 3-row family SUV, it represents a risky pivot. Maybe it works, or maybe it's a case study in misreading an audience. Either way, the Highlander has gone from predictable to polarized. What do you guys think? Is Toyota losing its way with the Highlander? Or is this just the future we have to accept? Drop a comment down below and let us know if you'd actually buy one. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more straightforward automotive reviews. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.